Matt Murray wins the game and ends the Devils' 13-game win streak, or did he? Was it the officials who did it? Well, our GMC tweet of the night talks about what happened there. Devil fans are not happy. A third disallowed goal in this game. They end up losing 2-1. And the Maple Leafs, these fans got a little out of control. They were throwing stuff on the ice, and the players had to stop them from doing it. But the frustration was there because they thought they had 3 other goals that none of them counted. Boy, they got a good team there. I have to really applaud what they've done with their number 1 picks. Chris, when people talk about tanking or talk about, loading up on the draft, it's one thing to get those picks. It's another thing to cash them in. And they've done so with, guys like Nico Hischier, guys like Jack Hughes. They have this kid, Dawson Mercer, who's a really good player, Jesper Bratt. Young guys, and so they were bad for a lot of years, but they cashed in, sort of like what the Jets and Giants in football haven't been able to do.
Yeah, they have cashed in, and I can't help but think that that's a Thanksgiving Eve crowd there. Throwing things on the ice in New Jersey in mid-November. Is David Putty in the crowd? The devil! Like, what are we doing here, New Jersey? Come on! This is ridiculous. Save throwing things on the ice for when the games really matter in the playoffs. You just had your winning streak ended. Oh, boo-hoo. I honestly cannot understand that. I cannot explain that, Bob, other than it being the night before Thanksgiving and everybody there was willing to spend like $100 individually to get drunk on concession prices in the building.
Well, they were 4 away from the Penguins' all-time record, so maybe they were thinking that way, and they got, they were stoked going into that, thinking they had it, and then the way it ended.
Listen, that franchise has committed crimes against hockey in the name of winning Stanley Cups, the neutral zone trap.
It's an effective measure when you want to win, though.
I am aware of that. They have also played some of the most boring winning hockey of all time. The 1995 New Jersey Devils doing what they did to that Red Wings team should be outlawed in sports. So I don't want to hear it from Devils fans, well, our winning streak got busted. No, you ruined hockey in the mid-90s. You did. And it took us a long time as a hockey-watching community to pull out of that and get back to something resembling an entertaining product. You don't get to be high and mighty.
It is pretty entertaining because they play a different style of hockey. They got a lot of speed and they utilize it. All right, we're going to go to the Lions before we get to some Steeler talk. We have a lot of people want to talk to us. Josiah in San Antonio. Josiah, what's up?
Hey, Bob. Hey, Chris. How y'all doing?
Hey. Good.
All right. I just make this real quick. Last night I was listening to you and Andrew, Bob, and I heard you guys talking about the Devils, but I was laughing because I thought you would have brought up the Bruins. This team is on an 11-game home winning streak. Berger cracked that 1,000-point mark last night, and what you guys criticize the Penguins for is what the Bruins do well. They play high octane for every quarter, and these dudes basically look invincible. Real quick on the Steelers, Jerry Dulac was absolutely right. I think with them letting Joe Hayden go was absolutely awful. Betting on Ahkello Witherspoon is not really anything to be writing home about. And I would rather bank on Hayden rather than Witherspoon because Witherspoon is clearly out for the month.
Well, I think those are 2 separate subjects, Josiah. Number one, I think the time had come for Joe Hayden. So that's one thing. I don't know that he would have come back and been the same one maybe that you expected. Witherspoon, to me, you see a William Jackson acquired, same kind of sort of pedigree. He gets hot, plays well. Now, he's a different kind of player than Witherspoon was. I get that in terms of where he was drafted. But, Chris, that's what they're banking on, somebody to come in, but he's been injured. He hasn't played. Witherspoon, he had a good stretch, and that was a tease-worthy stretch that got him a new deal. But, quite frankly, he's now reverted, when he's healthy, to what he was at the end of Seattle.
Do they have like a lemon law line that they can call about William Jackson, like 1-800-NO-LEMON? I mean, the guy gets here and then, oh, my back. Joe Hayden, you're right, though, Bob. He was on the end of the line. I mean, that's what happens to corners. Old corners tend to become safeties or they tend to leave the NFL. And you'll notice they haven't been banging down the doors for Joe Hayden. Like, I'm talking about the other 31 teams. No. Witherspoon, I think they bet on him, and it worked for a little bit once he learned the system, and then it stopped working. That's why true number 1 corners tend to go in the top 6 to 8 picks of the draft.
And they may have that chance this coming 2023 draft, even though they need other needs. They're going to need a lot of things.
What would you take? Would you go so you say you have the 5th pick in the draft, and maybe you have Ringo from Georgia. I think Joey Porter Jr. is rated a little lower, like more of a 15 to 20 type of pick. You have Ringo from Georgia. You could reach for the best corner slightly, or you could take a tackle. I'm taking a tackle all day, Bob.
I probably will too, but the importance of those shutdown corners cannot be overstated. I mean, they're so important, and if you don't have one, you see what happens. The Steelers are giving up more touchdown passes almost through 10 games than they have all season last year. You have to have, and if you're not going to get the pressure, I know how they do it, but their pressure has not been there because of Watt mostly, but you got to have guys who, even without pressure, can continue to close guys down in the secondary. So that's, to me, that's a 50-50. It depends on who the tackle would be, I suppose. But they're both big-time needs for the Steelers. Let's go out to Bob in Monaca. Hey, Bob, how are you? Bob, are you there?
Yeah, you?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, the NFL seems so concerned about these quarterback concussions. I was just wondering why they don't have them wear one of those hand grenade helmets they wore during training camp.
Well, they've utilized those in practice. I don't know the real answer, Chris, to you about why they don't use them.
No, because they can't tell these guys what to wear. They'd rather, like Aaron Rodgers has his old helmet grandfathered in. Remember when AB got so mad about that?
Yeah.
They grandfather helmets in. Brady wore a very old helmet. They should all make them wear cowboy collars like Brian Cox and Moose Johnston used to wear.
Brian Cox.
I'm like only half kidding. Like if you were really concerned with concussions, I always hear that that's the kind of thing that prevents the whiplash injury. Like Leighton Vander Esch wears one, but seriously, I mean, they would rather take their chances protecting these guys by basically legislating almost every hit out of the game. But if you're not going to legislate everything, then eventually they're going to get these whiplash injuries and things kind of adjacent to that, Bob.
Mike in Brookline joins us right now on the hotline. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Bob, Chris, how you guys doing?
Hey.
Thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Malkin, how he had his. Now, I'm confused. Did he have his 1,000th game tonight,
No.
or did he play?
No, but they
had
kind of
against
just
the
faked it.
Blackhawks?
They said, hey, that one was in Chicago. We're going to pretend like this was your 1,000th game celebration.
Okay, so his 1,000th was actually with the Blackhawks.
Sunday night, right. Yep. Yeah, so tonight was 101, and he got the game-winning overtime shootout, and it was a beautiful goal because he went in kind of
Yeah.
deep and hesitated with that backhand.
And I seen the last game when they were playing the Blackhawks. I seen that his son was there too. So the son was at the Blackhawks game, and he was there tonight. So
Yes, thank you. I think we've gotten the point right now. Yes.
Yeah, Nikita
Yeah.
Malkin's good. That's a
Yes,
great
the
name.
Chicago hockey team that maybe I'm the only one that's in tune because maybe I'm the one that is closest to those old drinking days that I could hear Mike right there. I could hear whatever point he was trying to make, but old Mulsey sniffed that one out. That's all I'm going to say here on the nightly sports call.
Mary Lynn in Munhall. Is it Mary Lynn or Mary Ann? Hello, Miss Munhall.
Penguins, of all the players they acquired this year, who do you think has fit in the best and has helped the team the most?
Well, I would say Jan Ruda to me has been the answer there. I thought Jeff Petrie was going to be a little better. He's had some up and down games. Ruda got another goal tonight. He's been extremely reliable defensively. And I'll give a little honorary mention to Josh Archibald. As little time as he gets, every time he's on the ice, he seems to make something happen, Chris.
Can I quickly do the famous thing where you don't answer the question the way the person wants, but the way you want, where I say the version of Jason Zucker that they're getting finally, a physical, kind of tough guy who can also score, like getting that player finally, it looks like, has been a huge boon to them, I think.
Yeah, and he works well with Malkin and Rust if they are on that line together, and they need those three to click. Joe in White Oak joins us right now on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. Hey, Joe.
How you doing?
What's up, Joe?
I wonder if you guys know anything more about Chris Boswell. I haven't heard nothing for a while.
IR 4 weeks, and you have Matthew Wright until that expires.
Who was perfect, by the way, in that game, just like I predicted he would be.
Yeah. I still, though, do not understand why Nick Skiba, they knew Matthew Wright, but still, Skiba did nothing wrong in training camp when he was here, Chris, and also the game he had.
I think at that position, when you're trying to replace a guy who's as reliable as Boswell, if you have any familiarity with a guy, you tend to err on the side of that player. Like Skiba did nothing wrong, but I think the big problem was he wasn't Matthew Wright, who was a guy that clearly Danny Smith, Mike Tomlin, everybody involved had a certain level of comfort with him because of what they had seen him do in Jacksonville and what their previous experience was with him. I think that's a total trust and faith position for most teams.
Before we go to break, just a couple of basketball shout-outs. Last night, Pitt won, and tonight, Duquesne won. They beat Alabama State. The team Pitt beat the other
Bob,
day.
Pitt 17 for 17 inside the arc in the second half. They did not miss a 2-point shot against Fairleigh Dickinson.
Very rare. We got to go to a break, I'm told. So we'll do it and come back with more right after this.